Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Folks, how's it going?
Yes, to another show of Unfiltered and Intentional. Thanks for tuning in now, later, tomorrow, whenever you feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of crazy shit going on out there in the world. So you might say, hey, you know what? I want to turn the news off for a second, get away from reality TV show, and let's see what these ladies are talking about.
The same things everybody's trying to get away from is what we're talking about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but you know what? We add a little bit of laughter to it. You know,
We try. We do
fun.
try. Yes.
Talk about topics that
Mm-hmm.
like people want to talk about. Well, today's topic is talking about D O G E. But before we get into all that, talk about the lovely politics and what's going on in the world. Definitely make sure you like and subscribe.
Please
Um,
do.
Yes, share with friends, family, all that good stuff. Hit that like button, like and subscribe. So,
Here
in
we go.
today's episode of America, what the fuck
Oh
is going on?
gosh.
I really wanted to talk about this topic because I had a sense and a feeling and a confirmation that there were a lot of people out there who knew that Donald Trump had created this new company, not per se company, a new entity within the government, a new department, but they weren't too sure of what was really going on.
But did he? But okay.
No.
No,
This is
go
what.
ahead.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the thing.
So he makes this new department within. Well, that's how it's announced the media. A
Mm-hmm.
new department, and in this new department, Doge is created, and Elon Musk and Ramaswamy is going to be running it. And they're very exciting because they're going to be running and cutting waste and elimination. And who doesn't want to cut waste and elimination within the government? I
Right.
think that we can both agree, no matter what party you are, and it could even be from the a third party candidate, third party, fourth party, whatever. Everybody wants to cut out waste and abuse,
Mm-hmm.
even though there was a department already doing that. But this one here is going to hit them hardcore, whatever. Anyway, moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
the day of the inauguration, Ramaswamy gets canned. Or as he says when he went on Breakfast Club, that it was like a mutual type of understanding because you can't run for, supposedly he's running for governor of Ohio of some
Yeah.
sort.
Sure.
You
That's
can't
it.
be like trying to run and then also serving. So he parted ways. They kicked him to the curb. We don't care. We didn't want you anyway.
Not at all.
Now, a lot of people like the fact that Elon Musk was going to be doing this. Um, the reason why they said they like this department, and him governing this the elimination part of fraud and waste was because he's a businessman and he took over Twitter, now known as X. And with that being said, day one, he's laying off, the big wigs, tell me what you guys done in the last week. I need to see reports. He's shaking and baking, and he's somebody who's the wealthiest man in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we look up to this man. He knows what he's doing. He's a businessman. And a lot of people say that you should look up to people who are this wealthy, just for the simple fact that uh, they run companies. They're making and breaking things, and so basically, you have one side saying that they love this new idea, but all of a sudden, when he gets in, a lot of things are getting shaky.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, he hired a staff of, was it three or four?
Actually, I think it's like six, 5 or 6, actually.
49, right?
Mm-hmm.
A staff of six. And these guys that are the staff of six are, I want to say, under the age of 30.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some young guys who are coming in and they are running algorithms and shutting shit down.
Mm-hmm.
With them shutting it down, they're literally shutting everything down. I want to give you guys a little bit of backstory real quick. The initial Doge department was created by President Barack Obama. in 2014 to modernize government technology. And it was actually not the same of the Department of Government Efficiency. It was the U.S. Digital Service. And like I said, that was all about modernization of technology. Mm-hmm. Trump turns it around and says, no, it's the Department of Government Efficiency.
Right.
So my opinion on this actual department is where they fucked up, and we're going to get into all the layers and pull it back, and everybody's going to chime in. I think that they should have had a nonpartisan entity come in and run this program, and then do the cost cutting. Because when you have a bipartisan type of flow, there's no skin in the game. Mm-hmm. We're not looking at you like, oh, wait a second, so you're cutting from over here, so you could take and put it in your pocket. Oh, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. It's a scenario where everything is even Steven. You know, maybe an independent. I can go either way. I'm literally out of it emotionally, and I'm just here to do my job. And I'm finding the waste and finding the expenditures, and I'm going from there. But as you can see, Trump had a whole nother agenda. I'm going to keep quiet for a second because I was going on a tangent for a little bit.
Oh, and don't talk to me. I'm not even. I can't even do this right now.
So my question for you, just moving forward, just to start it off slow, is: do you agree with the fact that it should have been a nonpartisan entity that ran Doge, not Elon Musk? Even though people think that it should have been run like a business, how do you feel how it should have been ran just to begin with?
Okay. So if we were going to do something like this, it should have been run more like an audit. So yes, that would be an independent agency coming in and taking a look at things, or at least elected officials taking a look at the things that elected officials have already allocated funds toward, and taking a look at it to see if those funds are being used the way that they were intended, and so on and so forth. So yes, there's some waste and there's some fraud and there's some abuse, and that's always going to be the case. And you know, there's probably a whole lot of it, and they could do some digging. But this whole, isn't he running around a chainsaw, like a physical?
Yes, he had the chainsaw cutting shit up. Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is stupid. It really is. It's stupid the way that they're firing people and then figuring out what they do and then trying to rehire them, but sending the emails to the email addresses that they're not allowed to get access to anymore.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm glad you mentioned about the firing part. Okay. Just to fill you in, for those who do not know, when these 6 individuals came in and said, hey, we're shutting shit down, they literally went in there and you can't use your badge. They literally went in there and your IDs weren't working, your credentials for
your building, your office.
Yeah, everything gone, shut down. It's interesting. I had a couple of people that I know personally say, well, how do we know that's even true? I was kind of concerned when they said that, because I'm like, wait, these people who are actually working there said that this is what's going on. Right. And you're like, well, how do we know they're not lying? I'm like, well, I can't even talk to you, because who said the fucking dinosaurs are even real? But you know, that's a whole nother. Sometimes you can't even break through, right? You can't even break through with those type of entities. But just to give you some statistics, so far, you go to the, and I encourage every single person listening now in the future, whatever the case may be, go to Doge's website. Fact check them in real time. Doge is claiming that they have found $55 billion.
Billion with a B. Yes.
With that being said, in the process of them finding the $55 billion out there, they have laid off 200,000 federal workers, and 75,000 federal employees have accepted the buyouts. The thing about the buyouts is it sounds reminiscent of what Trump did. Like, hey, do this for me and I'll pay you later. Because their people are saying they have not been paid yet. People's mortgages are due, car notes are due, all types of things like that. People have livelihoods and they have not been paid out. This is not for all 75,000. Some are stating it's for partial of that. I don't know the statistic on how many got the actual number of buyouts. But at the end of the day, some people are getting the sheet pulled from under their feet and they're not getting anything. The funny thing about these layoffs, equaling 275,000 people, is some of these people are not DEI. Some of these people are not Democrats.
Hmm.
These are people who actually voted the Trump administration into office.
I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. It's not nice.
No, don't laugh.
I'm not laughing.
With that being said, um, my question for you is, did you think, my question for you is, did you think, and the audience, that the people who voted him in, are, did you think that they knew for a second that their jobs would be affected? Because some people say, you know what, if my job is affected, so be it. Clean house, I don't care. Go Trump, go. So there's some true loyalists. But
Mhm.
there are others are crying, they're begging, like they're going to the news channels. Oh my God, I'm a veteran, I'm a this, I'm disabled, whatever, whatever. Please, please, please. Did
Mhm.
you think that majority of them were like, like this a shock, appalling type of situation, or?
Yeah, I think they're completely shocked. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, even
Okay.
before I appreciated your layout of how they've justified getting this going.
Yes.
But what we really haven't talked about is what's really going on, right? And so I know that in the flyer we sent out earlier, we mentioned that it's not the Department of Government Efficiency, it's the Department of Government Elimination.
Mm-hmm.
That's a truism, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
For the audience members, I'm really big on, a lot of people have a distrust of the media right now and don't want to, they don't know who to watch or who to listen to or what to read, and they don't believe anything. If you, whenever you can, you always want to get to the source, right? Want to go straight to where it all came from. So I remember when JD Vance came out of nowhere, right? Like, who's this dude? The hillbilly and the whatever else that hated Trump not so long ago and was talking about he's America's Hitler and kind of all of that. I was watching one of his interviews, and in one of his interviews, he mentioned they asked him, like, where does he get his ideas for what government should do or how government should function?
Mm-hmm.
And he clearly mentioned there's this guy, I want to say his name is Peter Yarvin, last name Yarvin, Yardin,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And he's out of this whole little tech group of people that have a belief structure on how the government should be run and what the government should do and so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. And if you now, because I am who I am, right, I have to find out, well, who's this Yarvin guy? You know what I mean? And so if you actually go back and watch any of his interviews, and there's been numerous occasions where he's talked about it, he mentioned that America needs to get over what he calls dictator phobia, and that the only way that we will ever be great is to embrace the idea of a dictator. That the country needs to be run like a company. Every company has a CEO, and a
Mm-hmm.
CEO is a dictator,
Yeah.
right? Said that the federal government needs to be rooted out like a cancer, right? And Yarvin has said that, and JD Vance also said that very plainly. It's not hidden. It's not a secret. This is something you could totally Google. Rooting out the federal government like a cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So Yarvin, as crazy and pathetic as he sounds, if you start listening to a lot of his things, he also mentions that a lot of these civil servants, if you would, these federal employees, haven't really done anything wrong, and that you should get rid of them with dignity. For example, offer them a payout in order for them to leave their jobs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's weird because if you don't know that, then you think that what's going on right now is some audit and some they're trying to find the waste, and they're trying to know they are trying to root out the government like a cancer, their words, not mine,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And move us towards a dictatorship, because we have to get over our dictator phobia. So we can continue to talk about this and let the media dictate how we're talking about it, and let the MAGA folks dictate how we're talking about this, as if it's some good thing that they're doing for the country, and that this is a patriot that is looking for waste and fraud. That is not the move here, people.
I'm very glad, Liz, that you mentioned that. Because of course, me going down and reading bullet points and giving some type of statistic, it doesn't
Mhm.
show the heart of what's really going on. And the
Yeah.
heart was really going on is take this man for what he says is serious.
Yep.
He posted on the Time, he did a digital thing with the Time magazine. He had the crown on his head, King Trump
Long
and
live the
different
king.
things.
Yep.
Legislation has just been submitted for him to run for a third term, which is actually possible. It would be violation of the Constitution, but they would amend it, of course, and then do a workaround. So there are ways for him to be reelected for a third term.
Hmm.
With that being said, I want to go in because a lot of times things go over folks' head, or if it's not personally affecting you, then it's like, I didn't know. I want to
Hmm.
read to you what uh, agencies have been affected so far by DOGE, and there's still more.
Mm-hmm.
Department of Education, which we know, U.S. Agency of Internal Development, that's the aid. Department of Defense, National Institute of Health, Department of Homeland Security, Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Health and Human Services, General Services Administration, Office of Personnel Management, Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Department of Treasury, Department of Labor, Food and Drug Administration, Department of Justice, Social Security Administration, Department of State, Department of Veteran Affairs, Small Business Administration, Department of Transportation, Department of Treasury, Department of Labor, Food and Drug Administration, excuse me, I just read that one. The Federal Trade Commission, U.S. Global Survey, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Federal Communication Commission, National Labor Relations Board, Securities Exchange Commission, Department of Energy, National Archives of Records and Administration. Now I'm going to stop right there. And the last one is the Railroad Retirement Board. But the crazy thing about all the things I read, and they're all important in their own right, what had me up at night, I woke up at 2 a.m, seeing that they hacked the system. I'm gonna call it hacking. They hacked the system, shut everybody out, and the statement was that they need to purge this department. And I had tears because I heard this at 2 a.m. and didn't go back to sleep until 5. And that was the National Archives of Records and Administration. It burned my soul. And the reason why it burned my soul was because the National Archives holds the history of America, regardless if you like it or not, regardless if it was for you, it wasn't for you, they did me wrong, they didn't do me wrong. This is our history. And for you to purge, for you to eradicate, for you to eliminate, for you to say, we don't need to know about this. What the hell? I'm somebody who loves to read. I'm somebody who likes to sit and say, well, wait a second, let's just say this. Where can I fact check that at? You know what I'm saying? Wait, Akia said that. Let me double check this. This is what houses that information. If you get rid of our history, just in a general sense, where the fuck do we go from here? Who gives you, dictator, the right to say what you should be learning and what you shouldn't? And if you wanted to fact check anything or say, hey, I want to go here, I want to go here, you can't. Donald Trump have been threatening agencies, threatening people, threatening governors. You don't listen to me, you're not going to have a job in politics. Well, I heard some people say, well, you know what? That's what we got libraries for. Well, if you stop the funding for libraries, who is doing this? So that right there had me just like, oh my God. Now I know a lot of other people are, the Department of Education and this and this and this. Yes. But for me, I'm like, wow, you get rid of the knowledge and the tools, you can't even rebuild from that. Where do we go from here, Liz?
You picked one. I have like 6 or 7 of them that I'm super concerned about. I think the one that we're sleeping on as a whole, and again, if you do the research to find out the why, right? Because they can tell you whatever they want to tell you, right? I can tell you that I'm putting a coat on because I expect it's going to be cold outside, and not tell you I'm the one that's going to change the thermostat in my office to 10 degrees to make people uncomfortable. And here I am with a coat, right? I can tell you anything, but the reality is you have to find out why it is that I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Concerns that I have. Okay, so we're moving towards a dictatorship, and that's not hyperbole. That is an actual thing that's happening, right? They also are in the Treasury and the Internal Revenue Service, which is where they house Social Security numbers. And as always, people jumped on TV and they went down the wrong rabbit hole. So for whatever reason, it was, I don't want them having access to my Social Security number. And the first thing I said, I thought was, why would you even take that approach to that? You know what I mean?
And I had people say, well, they already have my social number. I don't care.
No, these hackers do not. Right? And yes, it can be hacked at any time, but it's something completely different to give, in effect, the enemy the keys to the kingdom. Just here you go. You can walk in, you can get what you want, right? These people are not trying to steal your identity so they can go put some credit cards in a house in your name. Like that's not the purpose of this, right? If you know anything about our Social Security number, it is in effect a tracking device. since before they started implanting them, right? It can tell you where you are, where you live, where you have lived, everything that you could possibly want to know about you, right? They're also in the health administration. So that's your entire medical history. The Department of Education is your entire educational history, and so on and so forth. If you're moving towards a dictatorship, and also don't forget another big one here that you didn't mention is they had this purge at the top for the top brass of the military, right? So you
I
are
was going to talk about that, but yeah, it's okay. Talk about it.
you want to have your own police, like your own police that report to you and only you. They're using weird people to guard these buildings to keep even Congress out of the buildings. We don't know who they are. They're not even in uniform or anything. You just got guys in plain clothes standing there saying, nope, you're not coming in today. This shit's weird. Like things are weird. You know what I mean? And they know exactly where you are. Every single person that you could even want to oppose them. There's another country in the world that's something like that, Russia, where people start flying out of windows, if you oppose the government, they can find you to a T. They come right to your house and take you out in other places. This has happened in numerous places. Anytime you have a rising up of the people, the government somehow knows exactly where to find you and so on. If they were going to start somewhere, that's where they needed to start. But again, they're doing it for the sake of efficiency.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And while I'm mentioning that, audience, if you could chime in and just say if there's a specific department that's truly affecting it. Like I said, I'm so stuck on that. I mean, all the departments shouldn't be touched, period. But that one in general, it just has me going. But it's crazy because I'm gonna let you talk because I'm gonna go into. Well, I'll say this. Wait. I'll say this. So no. So MSNBC is a liberal, news organization, and I watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I watch all news, and they just canceled Joy Reid's show. The rumor has it from the other network is that because she has been spouting lies and talking about all the things that have been going on, because she's been doing some accurate, real good detail about the step-by-step plays of what Elon Musk is doing and kind of doing that whole bio epic just about him in particular. Now the show is canceled. People are saying, hey, let's go ahead and boycott MSNBC for canceling her show. Do you think that's a good option? And the only reason why I ask that is because you mentioned the statement about when people try to do an uprise, the government knows about you and they shut your shit down. So for people like her who want to get the message across, and now her show is canceled, because I don't believe the ratings just dropped like that. Do you think the appropriate move would be to boycott?
I do think that the ratings did drop. I'm a big Joy Reid fan, for the record, right? And I personally think that my girl's going to be just fine. She's going to land herself a whole nother contract that was bigger and better than anything else she had going on, and she's going to have more freedom. And we're going to be, she's one of those people that just stay tuned. Should we boycott MSNBC? No, I think that's a part of the reason that we are where we are right now. And we can't necessarily, I'm sure that there's other things going on, but everything can't be a conspiracy. Sometimes things are just what they are. I know after the election, I think I came right on here and I was just like, I'm dealing with this right now. You know what I mean? I was emotional about it. I have found that as I listen to different people and I speak to different people, a lot of people have just been, we're depressed. You know what I mean? We've tuned it out. We're not participating in the news. A lot of people, intelligent people that I know,
Are you on, Liz? Oh, I think. Oh, here we go.
I'm like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, you said intelligent people, you froze, but go ahead.
Intelligent people that I know are like, I can't with the news right now. I can't be consumed with this Trump shit all day, and a lot of us have in fact turned off the TV and we've stopped consuming the news and everything else. Now we finally tune back in to find out that the ratings have gone down. Yes, if you're not watching, you're one of the ratings that went away. You know what I mean? And it's not just me and the 10, 20 people I've spoken to. It's millions of people that just feel like, why even bother with this, right? Or I'm tuning out. Now is not the time now is not the time to get disengaged at all. So all kinds of comments coming in here.
So before we get to the comments, another coming in, and I just want to say this. This is the beginning of establishing dictatorship. This is the beginning of establishing a dictatorship. stopping communication, stopping people's shows, stopping different things, stopping the education, forming your own police and your military, doing things. The USAID, which I had no idea did, because I always thought about foreign affairs, it
Mm-hmm.
suspends college scholarships for HBCUs. Had no idea that USAID had something to do with that.
Okay.
Now, granted, Bloomberg donated $300 million to the medical departments of some HBCUs, but that's just specifically for the medical. What about all the other different academia that's going on out there?
Mm-hmm.
So once again, guys, this is the beginning of the dictatorship. It's already started the fascism shit, but
Mm-hmm.
you can literally see the pieces in play. Yes, they're talking about, oh yeah, we created D.O.G.E to find elimination for waste and expenditures and this and this. Every single thing that they said that they found, they were able to debunk. Nobody was buying billions of dollars worth of condoms for the people in Gaza. That was debunked. So he gets there with his kid in the office, like, yeah, and don't touch that, and we're gonna be fine. He's doing a whole bunch of fucking salad talk, and none of it was true. I'm gonna go to the comments. We'll jump back on there.
So we got a couple hellos. Hey people, happy
Yes,
Sunday.
yes, yes. Hey,
All right.
hey.
Actually, I'm going to go back because Cash said Doge is damn oligarchs grabbing everything. So that is what Doge stands for to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just peep that. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. And so we have my soundtrack of liberation came in with as an educator, when we erase history, there's nothing to remember, which allows society, cultures, humanity to learn from and innovate from that foundation in order to forge new possibilities.
And you know what? It bothers me to my core.
Mm-hmm.
It
There's a part
bothers
two
me
to
to
that.
my core for someone to destroy, to purge, to get rid of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You
See,
know, right now we know that there has been colonialization, there has been, racism, sexism. We know all that stuff, and it's not a good history, but it's still history that you can learn from, that you
right.
can take that information and build from, and for you to get rid of it. I was talking about that book Fahrenheit 4, was it 4,
Five
not
one. Is it?
451 or 490, 490 or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. We were
Yeah.
talking about it. But the book basically is showing how people are burning books. And it shook me to my core when I read it when I was a kid. And now to see that we're walking that thin line of people not wanting, and that's why he praised Kim Jong Un. Oh, he's a good guy and this, because he has this whole thing where
Oh,
you
the
can't
narrative,
use
right?
social media, you can't do this. It's his way or the highway.
Let's, if you don't mind, Kia, let's skip over to the second half of that same comment,
Okay.
where my soundtrack said, "It is therefore critical that we teach the old school way, leaning in and on the elders in our families and communities to teach, and teachers to be creative in their lessons plans to incorporate."
I'm going to say this about that statement.
Hmm.
If I knew 12 different elders,
Hmm.
and right now I'm in my 40s, so of course these are people, I wouldn't even say people in their 50s. Let's do somebody 60 and older. So if I knew 12 of them,
Hmm.
I would say maybe only 4 want to actually give that information. I do not know. I personally do not know elders who are willing to volunteer their time to give back to the community.
Ooh, I
Now,
know a few.
no, 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 no.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting that you say that because I have run into some people who, yeah, the information's here. I'm willing to give back to the community, but I do know some who do not. That's not their thing. I don't do that, is what they say. So that's
Mm-mm.
a real, real interesting concept when somebody says, hey, go to your elders. Because if we don't have our elders, who do we have?
If you don't mind, I'm gonna stick a pin in that thought right there, Kia, because I am so fortunate. I think the greatest blessing ever in my life. I went to Benjamin Banneker Academy for Community Development. That was the high
Mhm.
school I went to in Brooklyn, and the name alone should tell you what it is, right?
Mhm.
It was a school that was literally probably about 98% black. Our teachers were black. Our principal was black. Our award ceremonies literally would start out with, first of all, lift your voice and sing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Know how Brooklyn schools were, yeah.
It was different, right? But also we had something like I can't think of the name of it right now, but not quite a priest, but from African lineage or whatever the case, would come in and bless our ceremonies. It was not
Mm-hmm.
religious, it was just literally handed down from the ancestors. We did not have a single teacher in the building, not one teacher in the building that would not teach us our history. It didn't matter what subject you were in. If you were in English class, we learned history. We were in music appreciation, we learned history. We were in if we were in physical education, we learned history.
No,
And those teachers to this day, I mean, I am way removed from high school and I literally still am in touch with them, and I'm telling you that those to me are the elders that are soberly
yeah.
passed on.
Yeah, no. And like I said, there are some out there, but it's unfortunately like I would think, I would assume that everybody's like jumping for it, because that's how we get that. We, like you said, we're leaning into our elders just to get that information. But there are some that have given up. Some are like, you know what, this whole thing can go to shits, and they're just over it. I
Mhm.
remember this one guy. I want to say he's in his early 70s. He was like, you know what, this is the same story that I've been hearing in the 60s. It's
Mhm.
just viewed a different way. It's just been given a different way, and I'm over it. I don't deal with it. Talk about. I mean, they're just so set in that mentality. I don't do this. I stopped fighting. They
Yeah,
gave up the fight, and we need fighters. So I
absolutely.
totally understand what you're
But
saying.
yeah, we were, it was indoctrinated literally. And I hate to use that word because somehow it's turned into a bad word, but it's a good word. And somebody just texted me the correction on that we were pouring libations to our ancestors. So, but it was really something to see. I can't tell you how many times we had actual, African dancers that came
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
ceremonies and different things like that. In the South, it's so odd because in the South is where I expected to find more culture, and it don't work out that way.
That is
But
very true.
the comment here, the chimed in. He said, "What lies has Joy Reid possibly told about this food?"
Well, you know what? You know what? That's going to be the narrative that Fox News, who posted on X. I guess if you went on X right now, you would see that she's lying and this and this. So they're always going to post that narrative.
Of
They
course.
want to post a picture. Anybody that speaks the truth, anybody that calls you out on your shit is a liar.
Hmm.
Is a liar, and we should silence them now. And that's exactly what's been happening.
And so let's see. Sin Flores said, "Joy Reid has remnants of Jim Acosta. I'd have to say it's okay because they will both come out with more freedom."
I don't know, and it's interesting about Jim Acosta on why he left. I mean, I know they put him on like the last show, slot. I have no idea why. Um,
He got let go of. Well, he quit actually, pretty much on air.
mm,
So yeah, but because he said he's not lying for them. He will not bend the knee. He will not lie. He will tell the truth all the time. Kind of in the story. So let's see. HE Magazine said y'all need to be on MSNBC. This is very
you
informative.
know what? I'm all for it. And but wait. You know what gets me? Because I'll talk to the TV real quick, fast, in a hurry. What gets me is the fact that when you have interviewers interviewing, so I was watching Fox News today, and
Mm,
Hegseth was on there, and there was a Fox, reporter talking with him, and they said, "Hey," and Trump was talking about how. Trump was talking about basically how Ukraine started the war.
mm,
And so Hegseth started off like, hey, Biden would never have people sitting down talking about, peace and compromise and this and this and this. Biden. So he went on about Biden. And then she stopped and she said, yeah, but you still never said who started the war. Ukraine
mm,
didn't start that war. Russia did.
mm.
And he looked off camera as if to like, no, this reporter didn't. And it's funny
Yeah.
because when he was doing it, I was like, we may not see her ass again.
Nope.
I always say, I wish you, Liz, I wish myself, because I have questions, and you
Oh,
have to be able to have the gift of gab for some of these people
no, I
and put
have
them
questions.
in their lives. Because I'm like, here is a bib, dribble Elon Musk. Stop dribbling while you're talking, and let's get these facts together. You're lying. And I would be
Mhm.
like, flipping the note. You
So
devil.
I, I think I could tickle you. I had an experience this week. You guys ready for this? Okay, I was speaking to one of them MAGA people, one of them red hat wearing weirdos. Okay. So in the past, we have gone down this rabbit hole, right? Because in case you didn't know, January 6th is like literally as an American and as a patriot, if you would, the second worst day I think in our lifetime for this country, right? First worst day would be 9/11, and a very close second day is January 6th. If you watch the show, you've heard me say that before. And if you're like, oh, how's it a close second? You know, this many people died on 9/11, and this many people, you know, one person, as far as I remember, died on that day. A couple of the deaths are attributed to that day, right? I'm speaking to this guy. And he's saying that that was not an insurrection, that it was not violent, it was a peaceful gathering, it was a day of love, literally all the same talking points, real person I'm speaking to. And that if you look at it, for all the spin the left tries to do, they were welcomed in, they were let in, the guards were standing back as these people were ushered in. It was like a parade, and there was nothing, you know, nothing to see here, just another day of tourism at the Capitol. Fascinating. Right? And I'm like, you haven't seen all the videos of them scaling the walls and breaking the windows and none of that? And literally his response to me was no. Because if you only consume news from one place, really all you did see was them walking in and the guards not doing anything and everything else, right? If you consume other news, which is why you should always go and do your own research. But, you know, nonetheless. So finally, I showed him a couple clips, the one particularly of the guard that was being crushed where the blood was coming from his mouth and everything else. I said, this is not my idea of peaceful, you know, and so on and so forth. And he goes, but no, I saw the guards open the barricades for them. I said, right, because at some point, right, they were given the order to stand down. They were clearly outmanned. They were outnumbered. This mob was going to kill them and everybody in the building. They held them off until they got the important people to safety, and then they opened the barricades and let them in, right? And so there's a reason I'm coming to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the conversation that we have had in the past. And so to him, it was, well, if you opened up the barricades and you can't say the people stormed it anymore, you let them in. Fine. Months later, we're having a conversation about Ukraine. And I'm going, you know, Ukraine did not start the war. He goes, Ukraine fired the first shot. I said, really? They said, Ukraine fired the first shot. He is adamant Ukraine fired the first shot, and therefore they started the war. And I said, Russia didn't start the war? And he goes, granted, they were building up troops on the border, and they were putting pressure on them, and this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, Ukraine fired the first shot, and therefore history will say that Ukraine started the war. I said, okay, now help me understand, because you're the same person that said if you open the doors and let them come in, that you don't have any leg to stand on, you gave it to them. But you're also the same person that's now saying that if you fire the first shot defending yourself, that you started it and therefore you should have to pay for it. So what would be the right approach to take? And when I tell you your man's was lost, he did not have an answer for me.
Narrative. If I'm creating my own narrative and I see how I want to see, then I'm not trying to see anything else. I have these blinders on and that's what it is. And there's nothing that you can say or convince me.
But you cannot hold both positions. You can't. It's either they're going to invade and I have to defend myself, or they're invading and I can't defend myself, so I should let them in. But in these people's mind, you lose either way. If you defend yourself, you lose. And if you don't defend yourself, you also lose. How do you win?
Well, I have been convinced that at the end of the day, there are going to be some people that no matter what you say, the fact could be in their hand and they're not going to see it your way. You know, just like right now, you know, a person wants the winning team. No one wants to be a part of the losing team. And the Democrats are part of the losing team. The Democrats are the disabled. The Democrats are the liberals. The Democrats are the blacks. The Democrats are the Hispanics. The Democrats are this. Well, not someone Hispanics. I don't know. The Democrats are this. The Democrats are this. And I don't want to be a part of that. I think that what this administration is trying to uphold is the revolution, the new America, where we have a dictator after Donald Trump. Then it's probably his son Barron, you know, and we're just going in this.
You're skipping a generation.
I don't think he even gives his son Junior that much credit. I know he likes Barron more than all the rest of them. But at the end of the day, just still following in this. I mean, all the money gets funneled in. When you're cutting NASA, when you're cutting these things, Where are those contracts going to? So back to this comment here, I think that y'all need to be on MSNBC because I'd be asking that question. I would be in the little press conference room when the press secretary is talking, and I would be agreeing because you want to bring them in. When the way you communicate, you bring a person in and then you go for the kill. So I use my little notepad and I'm like, yes, and I agree. The waste has been terrible. They caught $200 million in the so and so. So I'm going to agree with her on that one. But it also says here that Elon Musk has been awarded that same contract. Now, can you please tell me? Because I want to see the bitch stutter. Because even though she's not going to admit to something, she's going to be like, next comment, please. Because they don't want to see the truth. But I want to call you out on your ignorance.
Oh, but it was funny because even with my conversation with that gentleman, his literal response to me in that moment was touche.
Girl.
There was nothing to argue about at that point, right? So let's see. Sin said the objective is to misinform as many people as possible because once the information is out, the ones that will fight for the misinformation will be those that follow them, like the movie 2000 Mules. I haven't seen that movie.
I haven't seen that movie neither. Let me write that.
Okay. That's Alistair said. What I don't understand is folks claiming that Trump and Musk are these patriots saving Americans and draining the swamp as if they don't personally benefit from contracts and other business affairs.
That is Elon's whole thing. Elon Musk was a direct descendant of his parents in the apartheid movement. He was a direct descendant. He is actually, if you follow Elon Musk, I kept saying, I told my husband, I said, I understand. So Trump is whole about his ego and, I'm the person, whatever. It's Elon we got to worry about.
Right.
Elon is the crazy fucker. Not saying Trump got his own personal issues, but he's the one, because he went on stage, he said, what you going to do to me? You can't do anything.
Nothing. Nope.
For the simple fact that people allow him, the government allowed him to get this big. And then now all of a sudden he's in this situation looking at us like, yeah, y'all can't do a damn thing. With that being said, he's a direct descendant of, you would say affirmative action. He would be that. He's a direct descendant of DEI. Like these people. There's so many different roles in this administration that are direct descendants of this DEI. And for you to act like it's only for blacks, I'm just so fucking confused. It's really crazy.
You brought up DEI. I think that we should stop saying DEI because that makes it so easy to dismiss it like it's a mat, right? Every single time we say it, we should say that they're getting rid of diversity, they're getting rid of equity, and they're getting rid of inclusion. Every single time we say it, we should break down what it is that they're eliminating. Just like the federal government and how they're getting rid of all these jobs and all this waste and everything else. Those are people. Real people with real jobs that are not millionaires. These are not wealthy people that have mansions or anything. They are literally the people that they could be the person that you're married to, your neighbor, the people that live in your house, that their kids go to your school. We have got to stop acting like the federal government is some entity in the sky that they are taking a chainsaw to. They are people that are walking out of these offices. Have you seen any of these people walking out of their offices with boxes and bawling because they have to go home and tell their families right now that they don't have no job anymore? That they don't have health care benefits anymore?
It's like 1 month already. I think it's 34 days since he's been in office, 35 days has been in office, and price of eggs have not went down. All the things that people wanted Donald Trump to do, he has not done. And this is the crazy thing. And then the right hand doesn't know what the fucking left hand is doing. So here you have Elon Musk send out a letter saying, hey guys, I need you to tell me in the last 5 days, have you contributed to the company? Write this up in an email and send it to your management. We'll go ahead and take it from there. The FBI leader Kash Patel says, ignore any letters to Elon Musk. How the fuck you both working for the same fucking administration?
That was the funniest thing in the world to me. And so it begins, you guys. Let them eat each other. Like that
was crazy.
Cash was like, disregard. Like, what?
But mind you, even though he said disregard, Elon resent the same letter again as to comply with me. So who the fuck do I listen to then?
Well, so because here's the thing: is Cash has his own agenda because he also plans to get rid of the entire FBI. And again, if you guys don't know, you really do need to know. And if you don't know what the FBI does, you need to figure that out too, right? There's too many things going on that you think won't affect you. Let me tell you, the most basic small thing, if ever any parent out there If your child is kidnapped and they believe that child has been taken out of that city or that state, that is not your local police department that's going to take care of that. The FBI also does missing children. They do a lot of shit.
So it's funny because I know people are like, the FBI needs to go. It's funny. I've heard people say the police department needs to go. I've heard all types of people say what needs to go, but when your ass is in some hot fire, who are you calling?
Who are you calling?
But next comment.
Oh, it's so weird because when we said defund the police, they didn't like it, but they said they want to shut down the whole ass FBI. But whatever. Sin said their news choices are limited only to Fox, Sinclair, OAN, and so misinformation is not a big deal once it's out because his followers are the only ones that will say it's true even after it's found false. And by the way, thank you for mentioning the Sinclair group, Sin. If you guys don't know, once again, do your research. The Sinclair group is running around. They're quiet and probably never heard. Most people have never heard the name Sinclair before. What they have done is bought up all the local news channels. So your channel 6, your channel 5, your channel 2, your channel 4. And if you actually, and across the entire country, by the way, so all those so-called local news outlets that should be managed and run locally, because that's the idea, right, are now having the same talking points. They're bought by the same company. There are things that they can discuss on air. There are things that they cannot discuss on air. And there are certain talking points that they absolutely must hit. If they don't hit those talking points, those reporters, those journalists, those meteorologists run the risk of losing their jobs. So when they're talking about hurricanes, they can't talk about climate control or climate change. Right? When they're talking about,
I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you, Sen, also for putting that, but thank you for explaining it a little bit more. And I'm glad you mentioned it because once again, here's another viewpoint of how you control everything.
Every damn thing.
Because if I want my job, I cannot say this.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, and I mentioned this the last podcast, and I've mentioned it throughout the time I've had my show. I have had times on this own actual show where I've been hit up on the side saying I'm in violation of saying something. I'm in violation. What did I say? Well, let me go back and listen, because of course, if you're, let's just say I said, and Megan said she's so-and-so, and she did this, and she did this. Well, that's a violation because guess what? I have to use the word allegedly. Allegedly, Megan did it. So did I say something like that? Well, what did I actually do so someone can hit me up on the low and be like, hey, you're in violation of our community standards and we're going to shut this down and then you can't play your this and this and this. And come to find out, just because I'm talking about a certain topic, that's the reason why I'm in violation? Oh, okay.
Another thing that happened that again we missed it because we look at the points that they tell us to look at and not look any deeper than that. You remember how for his inauguration they talked about all the billionaires that won the dais with him, and they had Mark Zuckerberg and then the other Asian guy from TikTok, and of course you had Elon Musk, and then you had the rest of them that were all up there. What nobody realized, those people that were on the dais, they control all of the communication in this country.
Yeah.
So here, when you mentioned earlier that if you want to establish a dictatorship, first thing you have to control is communication. Literally everything that we need to get information. So eliminating history, limiting and controlling our education, and also controlling the communication. On day one, the other thing that he shut down, things that we should not be missing, folks, he shut down all communication to and from the CDC. The Centers for Disease Control. Mind you, under his administration, the last time we got COVID and we had refrigerator trucks parked outside of hospitals. And this time around, the person that let that shit happen has stopped the CDC from communicating.
So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to get to these comments real quick. We're going to circle back to that.
Yes. So let's see. My soundtrack said there's got to be a way to tap into that wealth of knowledge. She's still talking about the elders bringing us that information at MSW. I could play a game with her. She's in her 80s, I believe. And put us up on game. We would love that.
Yes, thank you.
So let's see. Alistair said, "Where are all these politicians who have sworn to protect the democracy of this country? What does Trump have over backwards? They've been over forwards, actually.
Well,
They
here's
taking
the
that hard
wait,
all the
wait. Now
time."
here's the thing. If you guys seen it, I don't know if you guys seen it. Well, they were all in a meeting of some sort. They were by dinner tables, and he was talking about federal aid. And he's looking. He's like, "Where's Maine? Where's Maine?" And so the governor of Maine raises her hand. He's like, "Oh, so you're not going to be doing what I asked you to do?" And she was like, "No, I'm listening to the federal courts." And so then he says, "Well, I'm going to stop all funding, blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "Well, I'm going to listen to the federal courts." And he was like, "Well, we'll see how far this goes." That's going to be said, "Well, I'll see you in court." And he says, "Well, that'll be an easy one. And let's see how long your political career lasts." So I'm assuming that for some of these people, they're afraid about their
Mm-hmm.
political career. But then in the same breath,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also thinking to myself, there may be some shady shit going on. There may be some shady shit going on. Because a lot of these
Maybe.
people have some skeletons in it. A lot of these people have some possible skeletons in their closet. So I'm thinking maybe he has something. And when you control everything, when I control all this, right now, if I wanted to get you, Liz, and I was the government, you don't think I could just pull up some information about what you was doing on a Friday night at 2? That's simple. Amazon right behind me listening to this whole conversation. It's probably going right to where it needs to go right now with the algorithm here and the keywords. Oh, Akia said what? Oh, okay. Let's write that in.
Right.
They always do certain things. They always build a
There's
profile.
something nefarious at play. There's no way in the world that for the way that he insults people and checks people and the way that they come out today on
He got
TV and they're
somebody by the
clutching
balls.
their pearls and they're so outraged and it is not okay. And then tomorrow they're like, but whatever he says, we yes sir, yes sir, master.
How do you tell somebody that their
Strangest
wife
thing.
looks like a bag face and then the next thing you're kissing his ass? Like you just talked about
It's
my wife.
weird that that your daddy tried to kill somebody, and it's like they say that he says the most outlandish ish, and they turn around and they're like, he was being funny. What? So Sim was talking about Jim Acosta. He refused to tell the lies like some others on CNN. And I think some people at CNN are trying to hold the line, but only barely. They're treading it very, very lightly. So, we'll see
I
where that
hope
goes.
that Jim Acosta and Joy Reid do their own thing, like Don Lemon is doing. Don
Mhm.
Lemon, please follow him. He's on CNN. He's on, not CNN, excuse me. He was an anchor on CNN, but now he does his own independent news, just like this. He gets on, he interviews people, walks in the street. He has people on a little show, and you can see his home in the background. So it's not nothing fancy with production or anything. And he's talking about something. He has a following, and he's reporting real news, and he's as free as he wants to be. And I love it because now you're not worried about, certain things and, oh, am I going to keep a job or whatever the case may be.
So let's see. Cash said we need something more than just democracy to get people motivated. Something like universal health care would help to get people energized. I don't know, Cash. I think even that's kind of wishful thinking. I literally think that by the time people truly, honestly wake up, it's going to be too late. I am so concerned. Kia said, something got her up in the middle of the night. Y'all, I haven't even been sleeping at all. It's like, you don't have to wake me up in the middle of the night anymore. I am stressed out. Some of the plans these people have are crazy. And if you don't know, you literally just don't know. And there's so much information. There's so much constantly coming at us. There's no way to keep up with it. Did you see the Secretary of Health, the Department of Health, what's his name? RFK? Like everybody knows he's kind of loony and he's kind of crazy and this and that and the third. But did you specifically see where he was talking about the black kids that are on Adderall?
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
that we know, and literally, and I mean,
Putting them to camp.
he wants to send them, he wants to reparent them and send them to wellness farms where they can work and learn the value of
Yeah.
work and disconnect them from technology until they are better. That sounds crazy. And if you, and by the way, he said that about 6 months before he was confirmed to head up healthcare in this country. Not 10 years ago, not 16 years ago, approximately 6 months ago. And by the way, he hasn't spoken about this once. This was not a one off conversation. He talks about it all the time. His pipe dream is the supposed wellness farms, right? I.e., concentration camps. And when they're getting free labor from people that they have rehomed, and put them on farms to learn the value of work, that shit sounds familiar. I don't know why we think that we're the exception to this rule of history repeating itself. That's why you have to know your history, because when it's repeating itself, you should be heading into it eyes wide open and fighting. So I don't think it's going to take universal health care. I don't think it's about democracy. I think we're not going to start waking up until people around us literally start disappearing. They're setting up a camp in Guantanamo Bay. They're looking at all these closed down prisons, and they're repurposing them. For what purpose? Why do we need to be able to imprison millions of people en masse in this country? Why? What are they working on? Why do they need all of our identification information, our social security numbers, our entire background, our health background? They're talking about if you take certain medications and so on and so forth. Guys, don't sleep. Like, yo, wake up, right? It's the soundtrack of liberation, light bulb regarding elders. How about churches that have an elder department that engages their communities in storytelling? Like the First Corinthians Baptist Church here in Harlem. Love that.
So I love the idea. The only thing where I'm like, I would have to look at the whole curriculum. And what I mean by that is I think about Clyburn. Clyburn is in the Carolina, and he holds the Democrat Black congregation from churches by the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, if he's like, well, you know what, guys, we should sit this out. We don't need to be in the streets protesting. You know, that civil rights thing where they were out there, you know, rioting and tearing up stuff. We got to be a little bit.
You taking credit away from him. I think Clyburn.
No. He has the Black church by the balls. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like
No. The reason I say this, because Biden was not in the lead. Clyburn said something. Now all of a sudden everyone likes Biden. We then had Kamala in the running. Now she wasn't up there neither. But what I'm trying to say is that there were other options. Because remember, where we at right now, we don't have enough people to fight what's going on. We need Republicans, which is actually happening, to join our team to say, oh, hell no, some shit's happening, to get the steam and momentum we need to actual real change. This is a good point. A content creator came up to the Capitol to talk to Warren. She was talking, they was talking, great conversation. He was leaving and he ran into Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries, people want to know, what are we going to do to fight what's happening? He said, well, you know what? We are doing things. Look, I'm in the position I am because we are taking changes and we're making stances and we're doing what we have to do. What the fuck does that mean? Taking shit? What? That don't mean how we fighting back. We know how you got there. There is a fight in the Democratic Party where you have the Chuck Schumer, the Nancy Pelosi's, and these little people here holding back all the people that could actually tear up some shit, like the Crockett, like AOC, and the rest of them. And we need these people to get it together. And the reason why I'm saying Clyburn, he's a part of that Nancy Pelosi, let's do a little bit at a time, don't ruffle feathers. The Republican Party will come through and shake up shit. I'm gonna say you like what they shook up, but for the Democrats, it's always a process. Well, we gotta process this. We gotta take our time. Republicans like, no, executive order done, next, executive order done, and it's like, what the hell? We need the same momentum. So when it comes to the church, as much as they give guidance, as much as they can help the community with their storytelling, as long as they don't get involved into the politic part, I'm sorry. As long as they're not talking politics, I'm good with that. I don't need no elders talking politics. No. I need people in the streets. I'm sorry.
I think the elders need to talk politics. I think that they need to remind us of like how it is that
if they gonna talk about how they was a Black Panther running up in the courtroom with a shotgun, like they gonna talk about that, yeah.
Not I'm just saying.
If I hear we shall overcome one more time, I'm done. Sorry, next.
But we shall, like, you know. So
I was done.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it is. It's
but do you see? But listen. But look at the two parties. All honesty, if you look at the two parties as it is, you have the Republicans, you have the Democrats. Unfortunately, we can't talk about nobody else because nobody will give anybody else a shot. So you have these two parties. Why is it when the Republicans come in, they will tear everything up? We on podcasts talking. I can't believe they're shaking all types of making shit pop. Not for us because it's not beneficial to us, but for whoever they want to appease, they make it happen. When Donald Trump went to LA about the fires, he was talking to the mayor. And he said, well, wait a second. People want to get into their homes and clean up. So she was like, well, there's a process and we got to do. He was like, no, sign the paperwork. Let them go home. It's simple like that. Democrats, no, we want to take our time. Let's not shake and rattle. What the fuck is the slow? We need new blood in the Democratic Party. I'm sorry, but
I no. I don't. And again, I'm going to go back to, if you watch the show right after the election, as apoplectic as that was, as that time frame was for me, right, as I was at that time, I said they voted for this. It sucks because I'm on the boat with everybody else, but to some extent, let it happen. You see that big rock coming down the mountain, let it roll, let it go for just a moment. And it pains my heart because I promise you, I know very good and well that I'm going to be just as affected as the next person. But here's the thing, you can't blame that shit on me. I did what I was supposed to do, right? And so take all of it. My wish for the next couple months, let him do everything that he's doing, because they are already crying. We already talked about that. The people he's laying off, he's not just getting rid of the Black people. He's not just getting rid of the women. He's not just, he's doing a great job of that too. Make no mistake about it. He's not just getting rid of Hispanic people and people with accents and people that don't look like himself. He's getting rid of people that look like him and voted for him too. I was reading an article where one lady was crying. She goes, Mr. President, I voted for you 3 times. Please let me have my job back. No. That's the cost of doing business. I am okay with it.
There will always be casualties at war. If you have a war, there will always be casualties on your side. Right now, we're going to war. I know that if we go to war, there's going to be casualties. This is what the name of the game is. What I'm trying to say is, if we continue as the Democratic Party to continue in the same thing without making true change, we're going to have the same bullshit again. He is literally trying to put a third term in. A third term in. You think we want to hear what the fuck Chuck Schumer? You know what Chuck Schumer had to say? He was like, well, we have to do the budget. The budget's coming up. There's a deadline in March. And we have some ground now where we can negotiate. But we can't make too many hard options because we don't want to hold up the money. We don't want to do certain things, so we can't really go in with negotiations. What the fuck does that mean? You can't go in. They go in all the time. They literally go in all the time. But now we're over here like, oh, we got to play nice. Why do they play nice all the time? Okay.
I'm going to say something that might sound radical or whatever the case is. Let the Democrats do what the Democrats do. Just like they let the Republicans do what the Republicans did too, right? They let the Mitch McConnells of the world be the little dinosaurs that thought they were running their party. And you know what they did? They started a Tea Party. And they started a MAGA party, and they started the other thing and put it under that umbrella, and then they took that shit over. Let the Democrats do what the Democrats want to do. What we need is our own version of a MAGA and our own version.
That's what I'm saying. And you have
but let them do what they're doing. Chuck Schumer doing what he's doing. He's literally our side's version of Mitch McConnell.
But that's what I'm saying. So back to the comment of the church. When you have and not saying, like I said, the church is great for the counseling and the mentorship and the old, the community, and this is what they used to do in the elders and the ancestors. I'm saying when the church gets involved in politics, because we need new ideas. A lot of times you have older people who are stuck in that. When you have a thing like, hey, you know what? You guys don't do it like this. We got to kind of lower what you're asking for too much. Don't do it like this.
I don't think that we can call on the wisdom of the ancestors and the wisdom of the ancestors in the same conversation.
The people at the church ain't the ancestors. Sweetheart, the church people at the church ain't the ancestors though.
No, we were talking about the elders, right? We're talking about
grandma and them.
And that's how the whole conversation.
I made the example of Clyburn though. Clyburn, if let's just say we listen to what Clyburn, he's in the church. And we listen to what Clyburn is. We're going to follow in suit with exactly what Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer want us to do, because they're all peas in a pot. But let's go ahead.
He said, did he not know Russia was annexed Crimea in 2014? That was the first shot. So he was kind of talking about that
Yeah.
conversation. We're a little behind on these comments, and it's after 10. We're gonna rush through them.
Mhm.
So he said, in terms of who's next for the crown, it's the Princess Royal, the secret girlfriend Ivanka will be
Oh
next.
Lord.
Actually, I think she might be a little too liberal for Daddy Dearest. Centaura said, "What? The new FBI idiot produced and put out a movie, the movie 2000 Mules. It's about the 20 election and how Black people cheated."
Oh, I
Oh,
gotta see
oh,
this.
that guy. Oh no, yes, you're right. Okay, I know what you're talking about. He also wrote children's books about
I do
basically
know that.
and the whole Russia connection. He's weird. That dude is weird as fuck. So but he and she said, correction, the Souza produced the movie. My fault. Okay, so two different people. And let's see. Soundtrack said I agree with Liz. We keep going for the okie dokie acronyms. Right. Stop listening to these people. Do your own research and come to your
Yeah,
own
I
conclusion.
agree too.
Yeah,
The DEI thing is like the new N word.
the DEI, fuck them. It's the
It's
we
like
are
the new N
dealing
word.
with diversity, equity, and inclusion. Every time somebody talks about how great that is, ask them which part it is they're trying to get rid of that they're so happy about, right? And so Dinesh D'Souza, it was about how Black people stuffed the ballot boxes and burned ballots. He came out and apologized about the movie, but it was already out.
Of course, of
Thanks for
course.
the apology. So Alice said it's always a double standard between the gerrymandering, withholding Obama from selecting his Supreme Court judge and electing Trump, the GOP, the so-called patriots, true Americans pick and choose. So it's always a double standards, right? Everything they stand on is negotiable when beneficial to their party. They stand on nothing, right? Um, she said that we produced the movie 2000 Mules. I think we
Okay, maybe we
he was
came back
found guilty in court and had to apologize, but the movie was already out.
again.
So
Okay, okay.
that's what that is. Paul said, follow the money. Always follow the money.
That I've been saying that. I've been saying that before they found the president. I said follow the money.
So, we got somebody new in the comment section. Hi, Shemaine. So exactly that. Welcome to the show, by the way. So then the next comment, Z said those five people on the dais at the inauguration who had a combined worth of over $1 trillion. For the record, you guys, that's an oligarchy. When they are running the country and having the entire country submit to their will, when the billionaires are running the companies, making 100% of the profit and controlling the people so that they can profit from it, that is what an oligarchy is. So don't forget that. Also, are we forgetting that there's like this rise of the return of imperialism? We just look at something and we decide, oh, I want that water. It's the Gulf of America now. Oh, I want that country. Let's call it red, white, and blue land.
And leave Canada the fuck alone. Like,
Oh,
what's wrong with Canada?
what is going on? So, oh my gosh, Jim Acosta is in the Sunstack, and so is Joy Reid and Lemon. I love their Substacks.
Yeah,
So find them.
yeah.
All right. Those five people alone could pay off most, if not all, of the country's deficit. I think, you know what? Elon could win me over if he said every dollar he saved from the government, he'll match it. You know what? Maybe just
Well,
then
he's actually taking that stuff and donating to I think NFAD, I think it's called it's the remake of the Nazi Party
of the Nazi
overseas.
Party in Germany.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
They're
also getting
donating. And how JD Vance did not speak to the German president, he went over there to talk to
he
them.
went and sat with them right after he talked about how Europe is, out of line, and he's going to be the one to whip them into shape. And he's been running a victory lap on that stupid speech. Again, if you did not hear the speech, you guys go listen to the speech. It's important. All right. And so Cash said Democrat Party has to check with their donors and consultants first. I can't.
Yeah.
So, and then she said, I agree with Kia on the Democratic Party. Right. And so Cash said, yes, ladies, we need to be hearing up for primary season. First, take back the party, then take back the country. Or just
So,
have your own party. We do not have to subscribe to this anymore. Do something new.
so, so the question that is all kind of boiled down to, because we could go on and on about all the things that Elon and Trump are doing, and that would take a whole nother 30 hours or whatever. But the
Hmm.
question is, where do we go? What do we do from here? How do we affect change, because when you see that our elected officials are not doing, I don't know if you guys look at social media or the news, but a lot of people have been going to town halls, and these are the Republicans going to town halls saying, hey, we voted you in, speak for us, we pay you, help us. And they're just going want, 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 because the person that they elect is like, well, you got to see the long game. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, I forgot what his name was. He goes, people just don't understand the good that's being done for them.
Yes. So
okay.
I know that this has been circulating around social media, but every time the algorithm picks up the word blackout, they've been shutting it down. So, because of course, these different social media sites are run by Mark Zuckerberg and they control social media. So you get it out where you can. We, the people, attack where the pockets are. Like you said, follow the money. We have to follow the fucking money.
Yep.
So, with that being said,
yes.
with that being said, that is how we hurt people who are in power and in charge by not spending our dollars and taking things back. So the first one is going to be an economic blackout on the 28th of this month. No buying anything, no gas, no cigarettes, don't cash out not a damn person. Everything gets shut the fuck down. So to participate in this, please go ahead and buy everything you need to buy. Just like when a hurricane is coming or whatever little area you're in and you have to hurry up and shop for natural catastrophes, you buy everything before, buy your gas, buy your Cheetos or whatever that is prior to. So on that day, you're blacked out. Don't go on social media. Don't turn on the news. Don't do anything. You go to work, you go to work. But what I'm talking about, those extra things, you don't have to watch the news. You don't have to, hit your girlfriend up on, social media and talk about your lunch date. You don't have to do those things. Shut that shit down. I don't care if your favorite sports team is playing. I don't care if they're like, hey, you tune in right now, you get $100. No, no, no. Have the discipline. Wait until the 29th. If you have to.
It's not a leap year. It's not a leap year. So March 1st. So we got you.
Sorry, March 1st. But yeah. My whole point is just do not do it. Don't have your children's do it. Whatever that is, don't spend a motherfucking dime. With that being said, I didn't post the dates, but I definitely can go ahead and post it. Actually, Liz, if you could, I guess, well, I could just say it. March the 7th to the 14th, they're doing an Amazon blackout. March the 7th to the 14th, Amazon blackout. That means no Prime, no Whole Foods, anything that Amazon is touching.
No same day delivery.
Yeah, none of that. None of that. No same day deliveries, any of that. Don't touch it. March the 7th to March the 14th, an Amazon blackout. Also, please go on to Bernie Sanders' website. Bernie Sanders is doing Fight Oligarchy campaign. He's going on tour, and the momentum is getting hotter than fish grease. So definitely go ahead and do that. What I love about Bernie Sanders is because he's the old guy that brings the charts. And he's going to be like, look, they have been getting rich since I was created. And he's an old man. And he's going to be showing you those charts and telling you exactly where the money's going. Follow the money. But with that being said, you have to be educated in economics, where your dollar's going, what's happening, and what we can do to stop things. Stop these fucking sport events, all that. Don't buy. And the reason why I'm going to say that, if you're saying, well, you know what? I heard about people shutting shit down, but I'm not too sure. Is my dollar really going to matter? January the 24th, since January the 24th, Target has lost 10%, which is also equal $15.7 billion for not shopping at Target. And this is just us. And of course, people who are gays and disabled, because they stopped DEI. For anybody who said, you know what, I'm part of that, thank you for being a part of that. They shut it down, and they have lost $15.7 billion for market value. And that's 10% of their, and I was like, damn, that's just 10% of their loss. Yeah, $15.7 billion. We've let these industries get too big, and it's time to put our power back and do what we have to do. But once again, the very first thing is this economic blackout, which will be on February the 28th. Um, Give me 1 second here. We have one last thing here.
Jose said that Elon would throw his son, that bullshit name, out the damn Oval Office window before he gives one penny to the American people. We
His
know that.
name's pronounced Ash.
I wasn't even going to say that out loud. Just
Oh,
fuck him and his 13 kids. I'm sorry. I'm so done with that man. You have no idea. So.
no, and I'm gonna give you the last words in a second, Liz, but I just want to just repeat that once again. A lot of times people feel defeated, especially when you voted for whoever and the person didn't win. Um, Even when you voted for the person and they didn't do what they said they were going to do in their campaign speech, you sit there and you think, well, I don't have power. These people are running everything. They'll stop this, they stop this, but they cannot stop the decisions that you make. You do not have to support certain businesses. You do not have to be a part of what they're promoting. That takes a strength, discipline. It takes love of community. It takes acknowledging the fact that you've been getting pissed on and they're telling you that it's rain. Stop being a sucker for this government, for these politicians, and hold them accountable. I want to go ahead and give the last words to Liz.
So once again, you guys, thank you so much for joining the conversation and making it interesting and reminding me that I'm not alone in this crazy world trying to figure this stuff out. Appreciate you guys so much. One thing I wanted to put out there, we are approaching the end of the month. I am going to go ahead and extend the fundraiser. You guys know that I do sell the t-shirts, especially in February and March. March is Women's History Month. I actually have shirts that are going to be posted this week onto the website. I have one in particular that's got a silhouette of a Black woman, and it says that faith fueled and purpose driven. There's another one that says, warning, do not underestimate us. Another is warning, do not underestimate me. Right. And then I'm actually wearing a new design right now. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is motivated by, invested in, and inspired by our community. Please, you guys, 100% of the proceeds will go towards helping a college student pay for books. Also, I'm taking nominations. If you guys know a deserving college student, we would love to help them pay for their books, especially if they're in their third and fourth year. That is when college students tend to start running out of money, scholarship funds. It becomes a drain on their parents a little bit. A lot of our people have got to stop going to school and pursuing their dreams because they've run out of funds. So if we can do one small thing and pay for a couple of textbooks, I think that that's something the unfiltered and intentional community can toss their hat into. The name of the website is grownhonestconcepts.com. I can also do some custom work. Reach out to me. You can find me. I promise I'm not that hard to find. But reach out to me and let's help this go. It's a good cause. It's 100% of the proceeds. I take absolutely nothing from it other than the ability to pay it forward. Again, this year we're doing it, and for the future, for the foreseeable future, we're doing it in the name of, in the honor of, to honor Zaya, who was our first recipient of the scholarship that is no longer with us, but her legacy will live on. We are all future ancestors, and we have to do our part to advance the legacy, and that is where I'm going to leave it for tonight.
Thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you once again. These topics are just going to get better and better because we got crazy fucktards that are in office, and then we got crazy fucktard people that like, yay, go ahead, we support you. Like, what the hell? But anyway, don't forget this date. Write it down. Take a picture of it. Economic blackout on the 28th. It's been spread around, like I said, on social media, but when you type it in, a lot of pages have been taken down because they do not want that to be they don't want us to win. And that's the way that we go ahead and take our power back for right now, is to get them where it hurts, in their pockets. That's how they became billionaires and trillionaires and all this other bullshit. So at the end of the day, once again, thank you for tuning in. Love talking to you guys, and have a great night.
Have a good week.
Bye.